Oh, hello again, everyone. Welcome to this July 12th edition of Carry Your Cross. I'm so excited every week as you tune in, and I pray that what is said from God's Word would just continue to encourage you in your walk with the Lord, or if you've never given your heart and life to Christ, maybe something that is said in one of these presentations here would maybe spur your heart to make that decision. But I'm so thankful to be with you again. And you know, every single day that we live, we are surrounded by signs. Now, I know that many times we take signs for granted, but think about it. If you had to drive somewhere today, you had to abide by the traffic signs that were in front of you. Stop signs, other directional signs of whatever it might be. Maybe when you got to your destination, maybe to a new campus or a new business or a new building, of course, you had to follow the signs that were there, guiding you into the building or around the building or whatever it might be. What about instructional signs? Have you ever purchased something from Amazon or somewhere else and you had to put it together? Dads, I know when my boys were growing up trying to put a swing set together on Christmas Eve, whether you follow directions or not, they're there for you to follow. What about advertising signs? Maybe a billboard or maybe something you see by way of advertising. Every single day we're inundated with information given through whatever signs that are surrounding us, and they are numerous. But when we come to God's Word, we also have to understand that there are many signs within the Old Testament and the New Testament as well, specifically pointing to the end of our days or the end of times. You understand that going back into the Old Testament, there were those people known as prophets. And of course, they gave signs about so many things. But then as we move into the New Testament, we understand that there were New Testament writers such as Paul, who also gave signs culminating with the person of Jesus Christ, giving signs in regard to the end of our days or the end of times. People have come to me throughout my ministry, and I've been in the ministry for 34 years, but even, many, many years ago, asking me, Lane, do you believe that we are in the midst of the last times? And my answer to them is, well, we're one day closer to the end times just by moving forward with our lives. And even though Jesus does not give us a particular day or a particular time or something to look at, this is going to be our final day here on earth. He doesn't do that. But of course, there are signs here, and sometimes, and possibly you feel the exact same way. Have you ever gotten frustrated by watching the news? Have you ever had the notion of just turning the news off and not watching it anymore, or putting the newspaper down, or magazine articles that talk about negative things and other situations that we find ourselves even in, even today? I feel sure that maybe you've been confronted with that notion, as I have, because news seems to be overly negative today. And I want to read you something from Paul's writings. It's taken from 2 Timothy chapter 3. And I want to read from the Living Bible today because it just kind of gives us everyday language here. But he writes, "For people will love only themselves and their money. Now, just think about what we're going through today. They will be proud and boastful, sneering at God, disobedient to parents, ungrateful to them, and thoroughly bad. They will be hard-headed and never give in to others. They will be constant liars and troublemakers and will think nothing of immorality. They will be rough and cruel and sneer at those who try to be good. They will betray their friends. They will be hot-headed, puffed up with pride, and prefer good times to worshiping God. They will go to church, yes, but they won't really believe anything they hear. You know, it sounds like the times that we're living in right now, does it not? And every day that we are allowed to live upon this earth, we are one day closer to the imminent return of Christ. I've also been asked through the years, Lane, well, how close do you think it is? And my standard response is, well, think of it this way. If life right now, the life that we're living right now, could be compared to a football game, which half do you think that we're in? And people, of course, say the second half. And then I say, well, in the midst of the second half, what quarter are we in? Third quarter, fourth quarter? I've had some that say third, but predominantly there are those who believe that we are in the midst of the fourth quarter right now. So it behooves us to think about our relationship with Christ. It causes us to understand that as we get one day closer, every single day that we live, to Christ's imminent return, it places seriousness upon our relationship with Him, does it not? And I'm thankful for those of you who do have a relationship with Christ, but I'm concerned and praying for those of you who don't. Because if you go back to the very first verse of chapter 3, right here in 2 Timothy, Paul says, you may as well know this too, Timothy, that in the last days it is going to be very difficult to be a Christian. And I believe that we are there now. And as a believer, we understand that Christ will never leave us. He'll never forsake us. He will always be there, giving us His strength, giving us His power. His presence is something that brings peace in the midst of all of the turmoil that we are facing in our world today. So my question to you here today is this: do you know without a shadow of a doubt that if you passed on today that you would go to heaven? It is a very sobering question. It is a question that all of us are going to have to answer sooner or later. And I pray that today you will give careful consideration, serious consideration to how you have answered that question, because we're one day closer today than we were yesterday. So until next time, this is Pastor Lane Collins right here at Mount Calvary Baptist Church. I want you to know that I love you. I pray for you and your family. And for those of you who know Christ, I am just so thankful for you carrying your cross, continuing to make headway into this lost and dying world. You continue to be salt. You continue to be light. And as we all look for the imminent return of Christ, let's continue to encourage those to make their decision for Him, because we are one day closer today than we were yesterday. I love you, and God bless you.